Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the podcast, Third and Long, the sports edition of Third Thoughts. I am your host, Clay, and for the very first time, I am beginning the show without the Chief. Yes, that is right. I am alone in the studio. The Chief is not here in the flesh. I do not know where he is. Today is Thursday morning. If you know where the Chief is, let me know. Shoot me a text. Hit me on the socials. Because I have not heard from him, actually. We had to postpone the show because of some stuff that had to be done yesterday morning that could not be avoided. And so it's Thursday. It's not Wednesday. And so I'm kicking it solo. I'm riding solo. And I'm on here. And we're going to talk about sports anyway. So if Chief shows up, that'll be cool. If not, I got some stuff planned for you guys. Remember, you can always find us on social media at Third Podcast. The email is thirdpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to make this a better show, help us get some more equipment, video, etc., you can donate to the Patreon at Third Podcast. There's a lot going on. This is the end of the most wonderful time of the year for me. I think that Christmas is fantastic. New Year's is fun. But the thing going on in the back of my mind is always football is about to be over. College football is about to be over. NFL is about to be over. The only thing I have to look forward to between now and August is the draft, the NFL draft, and that's not even that fun. It's just kind of fun. So let's jump right into it this morning. I got nothing but piping hot takes for you guys, some spicy ones. I know that's what you listen to Third Thoughts for, is hot takes, and normally the Chief comes with them. So I'm just gonna have to do my best. I'm gonna do my best this morning. If you were keeping up with college football and the playoffs and the bowl games, last week was just a mad dash toward the playoff games, and Saturday night was interesting. I watched every game that I could watch, but it turns out the only game this entire season that I actually turned off was the Clemson-Alabama game on Saturday night, because I just couldn't watch it anymore. I was so on Monday night. I was so bored by the middle of the third quarter and so disappointed in the Tigers, man. I went into that game thinking, okay, Georgia-Oklahoma was an offensive shootout. Clemson-Alabama is going to be the opposite. And for the first half, I was pretty pleased with my prediction. I was like, well, it's 10-6. It looks like the defenses are showing up, and maybe we'll get some adjustments. We'll get a great second half. That kickoff happened, and it was just depressing. Both defenses played incredibly. I don't think you can deny that. I think you have to give the defensive players and the coaches and the play calling, you have to give that credit. But not a great offensive performance by either team. It really was kind of the opposite of the Georgia-Oklahoma game that took place right before it. And what a game that was. I watched that first half and thought, well, my predictions are ruined. I'm going to lose the pick'em. There's just no way that Georgia's coming back from this. And I was incredibly surprised at the second half adjustments. I mean, I think the main thing was the pass rush. There was no pass rush from Georgia in the first half. Baker Mayfield was having his way with the Bulldogs, and that changed completely in the second half. The pass rush was there. He was being pressured, and I was a little bit confused by Lincoln Riley's play calling in the second half too, because it seemed like, especially when we got to the overtimes, especially then, I was really confused. It's almost like he thought his running back, it was almost like he thought Anderson won the Heisman and not Baker. So I was very confused because it was the same play and it wasn't working, and the Bulldogs were sniffing it out and locking it down, and I really didn't see where Baker Mayfield was free to make those Heisman kind of decisions in the end of that game, and it was still close, and it was incredibly exciting. I would have hated to be a big fan of either team, because how can your heart possibly take that? It reminded me a lot of the way I felt when Florida State played Auburn in the national championship a couple years ago, and that one was right down to the wire as well. And yeah, but you can't deny that the playoff games this year so far, even with Clemson's terrible performance against Alabama, these playoff games have been just far better than last year. I was so bored last year with Ohio State getting blown out and Washington getting blown out. And last year's national championship was great, and I expect this year's to be no different. I expect both teams. You can't deny Coach Saban and the Tide and how they're going to come out prepared. You can't deny Kirby Smart and the Dogs now. They've proven that they can adjust when they need to. They've proven they can make up for the mistakes that they do make, and they can score points, man. So we're going to see who truly is the better team. I know it's an all-SEC championship, and what is up with that? I want to know what you think about this conference loyalty we see. It seems to get more and more radical, I guess, as the years go on, and especially with the playoffs in it now. You know, I was kind of under the impression a couple years ago that we were moving to the playoff to prevent this kind of game where you have two SEC teams or two Big 10 teams or the same conference teams playing for the national championship. So we moved to the playoff, and here we are once again. I don't really have a problem with it. I'm not up in arms about it because, personally, I don't really have a lot of conference loyalty. When it comes to, I'm a Florida State fan. When it comes to the ACC, I hope they all lose against us. And the only time I really hope that they win is when they're playing each other. It doesn't even make sense. I don't understand the concept of conference loyalty, and so this whole all SEC playoff, all SEC championship doesn't really bug me, doesn't really bother me, and so yeah, it'll still be entertaining. I think it's gonna be quite the game. We're gonna see the defenses show up a lot, and I'm just wondering what the Chief would say if he were here, really.
Probably if the Chief were here, he would say, I want everybody in the ACC to lose that's not Florida State.
But especially Miami.
And especially
Clemson. Unless they're the only shot we have.
No, I mean, even Clemson. I mean, when you're recruiting head-to-head with somebody in your conference, and the goal is to win, let me tell you what conference loyalty is. Conference loyalty is a weak excuse for Bama's going to kick my tail or Georgia's going to kick my tail, and I need something to root for. You Aggie fans need to drop the SEC, Mississippi State fans, Kentucky fans in football, and you just need to understand you're not going to get there, and just drop the whole "we are the SEC." No.
I don't get it, man. I'm not really mad about it, but it's the same way I feel about coach loyalty. I understand in liking a coach. I understand thinking coach is a good guy. He's a good coach. He's always treated the boys right. He's, good to the parents. He's been good for the school. He's nice in the media. But then when he leaves, do you just abandon your team? I don't. I mean, I'm a fan of the team, not of the coach, and I feel the same way about this conference thing. I'm a fan of the team, not the conference.
Listen, Mark Richt, offensive coordinator at Florida State. I was a Mark Richt fan when he was calling plays at Florida State.
But only at Florida State.
But when he went to Georgia, I didn't suddenly become, a ravenous Dogs fan.
Exactly.
And when he left Athens and went to Miami, I certainly did not become a fan of the U.
No, it's a cardinal sin.
I'm just not going to do it. And hey, we got good news coming to Tallahassee today, maybe, or bad news.
Uh-oh.
Ron Dugans is supposed to make his decision today about whether to leave the U and come to Tally to be our wide receivers coach.
You know, as much as I am, can you imagine moving from Miami to Tallahassee, though? That's got to be like a little bit of a downer when it comes to just
and he's moved
living conditions.
You know, you're talking about this coach loyalty and conference loyalty. This guy, in pursuit of a career, has moved his family 3 times in 7 years.
Yeah.
This will be number 4. But this is like coming home. I mean, he's an FSU alum.
Well, yeah, and that's great. I just mean in general.
And his daughter's dating one of the players.
Oh, geez.
At Miami. So that may be another reason for him to move.
He's trying to break that up.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Chief, good to have you in the studio this morning.
It's good to be in the studio this morning.
I thought I was just going to kick it by myself. I didn't know what happened to you.
Well, I had an animal issue this morning.
An animal issue?
Yeah, all the water was frozen to all of my animals. So I had to break the ice and transfer it container by container.
So you've been on the farm this morning.
I have been on the farm.
It's a cold morning to be out there. Well, good to have you here. Look, I want to talk about, we've been talking, I was just talking about the national championship, and and someone else that you're particularly fond of thinks they have a national championship. I don't know if you read about this. This is from USA Today. Central Florida AD says school plans a parade for a season worthy of a national title. They're hanging a banner. They're having a parade. Listen, the coaches are getting their bonuses for winning the national championship.
That's what I'm talking about.
UCF, I know they went 13-0, and honestly, their performance against Auburn, I think they could have played in that 4th spot.
Remind me who's in the national championship?
The Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
How many losses did the Georgia Bulldogs have?
1.
Who was it to?
Auburn.
How many losses does Alabama have?
1.
Who was it to?
Auburn.
Who just beat Auburn in a bowl game?
UCF.
National champions, baby.
Do you think they're I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to say they're national champions. I think they deserve to be in the playoff.
Yeah, they deserve to be in the playoff.
And I think this raises
Scott Frost said it was a conscious effort by the committee to keep them out.
Well, I think this raises some serious questions. I mean, we got to I think the committee has to look at it next year and consider, do we got to start including some more teams that are not just Power 5 contenders. I don't and Alabama didn't win their conference. So it's very confusing. The rules, apparently we don't know the rules as fans. The committee really decides.
Yeah, because it's all human now.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, it's computer. It won't work because it's computer. But now that it's all human, there are no hard rules.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're looking out on the football field and they're saying, this is the best team. This is what I see as the best team.
Right.
But how do you see these games? If you're the college football playoff committee,
mm-hmm.
How do you see these games? I mean, you can't go to all the games, right?
Right. You got to be watching video, I guess. You just got to watch tape.
Or television.
Yeah.
And who and what? I'm just saying, I don't really have a complete ought against this particular media outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Where do most teams play? What channel do most teams play on?
ESPN.
So you hear their SEC narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear, why not just do this? I mean, why not just put Kirk Herbstreit, David Pollock, Lee Corso?
Mm-hmm.
Why not just put the ESPN guys in a room and just let them go ahead and pick a national champion before the season starts? and then they can play, and if they play well enough, they can still be the national champion at the end of the year. Let's crown them at the beginning, then let everybody knock them off.
That'd be so ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I know that's ridiculous, but that's what happens. You've given all the sports power to these journalists that work for ESPN, who also have listen, everything with me is a conspiracy theory. So you have these few journalists that have all this sports power. Okay? Mm-hmm. But here's the problem with it. They also have a reason to push the SEC because they make money off of the SEC network.
Yeah.
So the more they push the SEC as the best conference, the more they drive fandom there, and the more money they make off of the network. It's all just a money-making scheme.
I do wonder, and I was thinking about this yesterday, I do wonder sometimes if there's a little bit something funny going on in the shadows. Because sometimes the calls...
There was something going on funny in the shadows, but he got fired for it.
Who are you talking about?
The guy that ran ESPN, he got fired for sexual harassment.
Yes. That's not what I mean, though.
I know what you mean.
I mean, you see the refs, sometimes the refs call these weird calls, or they make no calls during games that turn the tides of games. I mean,
it's as if they have been told who's supposed to win that game.
Right.
What if all of college football is nothing more than an elaborate professional wrestling scheme?
I mean, I don't know. I would be very sad to find that out.
I tell you what's not the NBA.
You got some NBA news?
Well, I'm just saying that since we're talking on this whole conspiracy theory.
So you don't think the NBA's fixed?
Well.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, if it was, why would you debut Isaiah Thomas Tuesday night and hold him out of the game against his old team last night? IT didn't even play against the Celtics last night.
Is he hurt? I'm really not caught up with what Isaiah Thomas is doing.
Well,
elaborate for me.
He has been hurt. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! Why are you even doing a sports podcast?
It's called Third and Long, Chief. That's a football reference.
Okay, Isaiah Thomas traded from the Celtics.
Yeah.
To the Cavs in a deal for Kyrie Irving. Also included Jay Crowder.
Well, yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Whatever Zizek's last name is. He's not relevant enough for me to know his first name.
Sure.
Okay. So Crowder's been playing very good, by the way. But his hip, he didn't get to finish the playoff series against Cleveland last year. Hip injury. He's been healing from that hip injury. Tuesday night was his first game back from last season's hip injury.
Gotcha.
So they debut him, and he plays on Tuesday night, but not on Wednesday against the Celtics. My thinking is, if you're only going to get one game out of him because this is the path you've chosen,
play against the Celtics.
Let's play him against the
Gets
Celtics.
More views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's his old team.
Right.
Let's hear some boos and some cheers and some oohs and some ahs instead of getting blown out by the Celtics.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And they got blown out.
Yeah.
Kevin Love must have played terrible. I didn't get to watch the game because they play these. I don't know why the NBA picks Wednesday night to put the premier games.
Well, they're not worried about. They're not worried about us.
They're not worried about ratings.
Yeah.
I don't think the NBA is worried about ratings because nobody goes to the games or watches them on TV except me.
I went to a Hawks game.
Did you find it entertaining?
No. But they were playing the Celtics, and it was cool to see Kyrie and stuff. But,
yeah.
I mean, I was sitting pretty high up. I mean, it was fun because I went with friends.
Is that not a terrifying arena, though?
Phillips Arena is weird, dude.
When you're in the upper deck, and it's
feel like you're going to fall down.
It's steep, man.
Yeah. It's I've never felt that way. But, yeah, I mean, as far as the night, it was fun because, it was free, and we got to go. And
you ever gone to listen, we said we're never going to talk about hockey, so we're not really going to talk about hockey. Have you ever been to a hockey game match?
When Gwinnett used to be the Gwinnett Gladiators, used to go to them.
Yeah.
They're not NHL, but it's fun. I enjoy it. I do a lot better with baseball and hockey if I'm there.
Yeah.
I have a hard time watching those sports on TV.
I tell you, entertainment. If you're listening to the podcast, you've never been to a G Braves game, a Gwinnett Braves game.
Yeah.
That's entertainment. That's fun.
G Braves is good.
We got a friend that has, listen, when I say, a lot of people say, man, I had the best seats in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the seats that I sit in when I go to the G Braves game, when I show my tickets to the people that take the tickets, because the tickets that I get from this guy also gives you access to the underground restaurant.
Yeah.
So you enter through a private entrance
into
this underground restaurant.
It's
like
bougie.
underneath. It's underneath the seats.
Yeah.
It's all you can eat. It's all free.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in, you eat, then you go through the tunnel down by the batting cages. It has a big glass enclosure in front of it, so you can see the players hitting in the cage,
right,
getting loose. You walk out, but when you hand the tickets, they say, "Oh, you've got the best seats in the house tonight."
The ushers say that to you.
The ushers say that.
Wow.
And literally, it's a table. There's a table with four pivoting, rotating chairs right behind home plate.
Oh, wow.
I can hear the umpire and the catcher talking to each other.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
Anyway, even if you don't get those seats, you should still go check out listen, there's a lot of sports I think that we miss out on.
Definitely.
And if you live in the Atlanta area, which many of our viewers do.
Listeners.
Yeah, listener. Yeah, if you're viewing us,
if you're viewing us, if you have a secret camera in here, and that is very weird.
That's very weird. But our listeners, listen, you need to take this opportunity because not everybody lives in a sports area like we do.
Mm-hmm.
We have a professional football team.
Yep.
We have a professional basketball team.
Yep.
We have a professional, what's the other one? Baseball team.
Yep.
Football, basketball, baseball. We have a professional hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
We have a professional soccer team.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
We have Georgia State. They also play Division I football. We have, just in Athens, we have the University of Georgia. We also have the Gwinnett Braves. There's also a minor league hockey team in Atlanta. We have all of this access, plus some of the most amazing high school football and baseball in all of the country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a buddy who comes down. He coaches high school football up in Dalton, and he comes down every December to watch the playoffs because they do the playoffs at Mercedes-Benz in Georgia, and it's like a big deal. I mean,
just Deshaun Watson played right there in the Dome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how
Rest
many?
in peace to the Dome, by the way. It's completely gone.
Yes. How many Division I athletes, are right here just in North Georgia?
Mm.
It's amazing the talent-rich and opportunity-rich environment that we have right here. Listen, if you're a fan of sports on television, go out and experience it in the real world.
Because for the most part, it is better.
Yes.
I mean, you can argue when the weather is bad or if you don't have enough money for snacks and that kind of stuff. It's obviously cheaper to stay home. And you could argue that's a little more comfortable. You get your couch, you can set your heat, whatever. But going and being there live would not be the colossal moneymaker it is if it wasn't worth it. It's fun.
Listen, the second greatest experience in sports is Atlanta Braves Stadium. Runners on second and third in the late innings.
Mm-hmm.
Braves down by 1. 2 outs. Somebody walks to the plate, and the tomahawk chop starts.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
I mean, followed not close. I mean, it doesn't follow closely behind Doak Campbell Stadium when the war chant breaks out.
Yeah.
Osceola and Renegade riding out to the 50-yard line, throwing the spear in the center. It's just not the same on television as it is when you're there.
Right.
So as much as I love watching sports, go out, take your kids to a ball game. Take your kids down to just the local tennis league and let them watch. Yeah, you know, my daughter, my oldest daughter, was an exceptional golfer.
Mm-hmm.
But had I just put her in front of the television to watch Tiger Woods,
oh, she never would have golfed.
No, I took her to the stinking golf course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if you know somebody that doesn't like sports, if they say out of their mouth, "I don't like sports," they probably haven't been exposed to enough sports.
Listen, if somebody says, "I don't like sports," we should really consider calling ICE and deporting them.
There's a hot take for you. That's a fresh hot take.
I mean, I'm just saying. It just baffles me.
Let's get back to some news, shall we? I'm going to shift to the NFL. Speaking of parades, we were talking about the
Rose Bowl.
Well, no. We were talking about the UCF parade since they were undefeated.
Oh, yeah, but Tournament of Roses parade, it was pretty off the chain this year.
Was it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
But there's
another Gary Sinise, the Grand Marshal, Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah. There's another city planning a parade.
A national championship parade?
Well, no, but a perfect season parade. Coming right out of Cleveland, the Browns have their perfect season parade set for this Saturday because they went 0-15.
I mean, is it planned that they're going to parade, but nobody's supposed to come?
I don't know. I think they're just trying to make.
Not only are they going to block.
0-16. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Not only are they going to block off the street where the parade is, like 2 blocks back, they're going to close it all down so nobody can get to the parade. They're just going to ride the team through.
Well, they're the first team to go 0-16 since the 08 Lions.
Yes,
and I think they're the second team ever to do that.
Was that the Matthew Stafford? Was he the quarterback then?
2008. I'm not sure on who was on the roster then, but it was sad. And this Cleveland Browns team that sucks, man. It must be tough to be an NBA fan and an NFL fan in Cleveland because it's so hot and cold right now with LeBron being there and then the Browns. You know, like, how do you balance that in your emotional being?
It's okay. It's going to get balanced next year.
How do you mean?
Because LeBron's leaving Cleveland.
Oh, gosh. What will they have without LeBron?
They're going to be burning jerseys in the street again, man.
Oh, man. Wouldn't it be crazy if LeBron just started playing for the Browns and, like, brought them back? Because, you know, there was talk about LeBron playing football.
I think that's...
That's a dead dream.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I would not enjoy seeing LeBron suit up in the garnet and gold.
He's not going to go play at Florida State.
He's a huge FSU fan.
Is he really?
Yes.
How do I know that? How can I confirm that?
How about Google, is LeBron James
I'm going to. I'm going to do it right now.
Do it right now.
LeBron James.
Man, here in we've got professional bull riding, rodeo.
Why are you still on this local sport?
I don't know. It's just Deshaun Watson is home right now. I saw him. He was at the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he's probably home. He should be on our show right now.
Listen, if anybody knows Deshaun I would love to interview Deshaun on the show.
Yeah, we want to ask you. He can even send us a copy of the questions he wants us to ask.
Yeah, he could just call in. Actually, he doesn't have to come sit in here.
Right.
Just that would be fun. Apparently, LeBron is an FSU fan. It can be confirmed, but that was 2012 when this is.
Fandom doesn't begin and end.
It does for some people, Chief, and you know that. I'm just afraid. Because he did leave Cleveland and go to Miami. Then he came back to Cleveland.
That's a job.
And
that's not being a fan.
You're right.
That was his job.
You're right. A little more NFL news for you.
Okay.
The New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
Boo. But regardless, the New Orleans Saints have taken out their Nintendo 64, their table tennis table, and their mini hoop. out of their training facility to get prepared for the playoffs this Saturday or Sunday.
What did they put in its place?
Nothing. They just took out the fun stuff. So there's no distractions now. You can't play Nintendo.
So much with Dance with the One Who Brung You.
No ping pong. No mini basketball. We're working on football only this week in New Orleans because it's the playoffs.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't it? It's funny that they have a Nintendo 64. That's
the best they could do.
It's probably what they wanted.
Yeah, because they all grew up playing Nintendo 64.
Yeah, they're all pretty old.
What is
I just thought it was
what is
interesting.
this new obsession with all of these new college recruits all talking about this weird Japanese anime stuff? They're all, fans of this weird stuff now.
Do you have a reference? I'm not sure that I've seen it.
Oh yeah. When these kids are interviewed, they all talk about these weird Japanese cartoons that they follow. It's like, what do you do for fun? I watch Harajuku or whatever it's called.
Well, that's interesting because I think it's kind of a
listen. We're not talking about, and I'm not talking about the kids from the suburbs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
I'm not talking about people that live, in Jefferson, out on a farm.
Right. No, I think there's a little bit of that in hip hop and rap music too, where
really,
it's kind of like a trend. That the anime is kind of popular in that circle too. So I know that music is used a lot for hype videos and for game day music, workout music, that kind of stuff. So that could maybe there's a correlation there. I'm really not sure. That's interesting though. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Can we talk about the draft just briefly since we're coming up on the end of the NFL season? Playoffs are about to start, and coming up on the end of that, Super Bowl will happen, and then the draft will come up in May or April. So let's start really quick. I just want to go through like the top few here of this mock draft from Bleacher Report and just see what you think.
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, my head is spinning.
Why?
I just read a thing.
Oh, you got something breaking?
I don't think it's breaking, but it broke me when I read it.
Okay.
LSU to pay defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Dave Aranda. $2.5 million to stay their defensive coordinator.
Lord have mercy. A DC getting $2.5 million?
Okay, I just want to put this in perspective.
Has a DC ever made that much?
No.
He's got to be the highest paid one ever.
Mario Cristobal, who took over for Willie Taggart at Oregon, makes $2.3 million.
Wow, man.
Aranda's making more than a head coach. You've got to believe that what they just said to Ed O is win or Aranda's going to take your job.
You would think, man, because that's a ridiculous number. That's a ridiculous number.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I didn't know that was coming down the pipe. So, yeah, that's interesting. That's a ton of money, man. I can't imagine. Real quick, NFL draft, mock draft here from Bleacher Report. The number one pick is the Cleveland Browns with their coming off their perfect season. This says Bradley Chubb, defensive end from NC State. So you think there are a lot of great QBs in this draft. Okay, a lot of great QBs, a lot of great players. So this one still has a defensive player going first. What do you think about that? That's what happened last year too.
Yeah, well, I think that the pass rush is key. I mean, let's face it. It doesn't matter how good your quarterback is.
Mm-hmm.
If he's running for his life from the time the ball is snapped, he's not going to perform.
Right.
So if you've got that elite pass rusher, and let me tell you something, Chubb is an elite pass rusher.
He is great.
And, man, he just came on the scene. 2 years ago, nobody knew who that Chubb was.
Yeah. They only knew the
It was
other
his
one.
cousin, Nick.
Yeah.
Now, he's going to go ahead of Cuz. He's going to get paid big bucks. Yeah, I would take and in Cleveland, they've already proven that they can't play offense.
Yeah.
So why not go defense? I'd go defense with every pick.
Well,
and just hope that I could get a turnover and maybe score a touchdown next year.
Yeah. Could be a good strategy there. The number 2 pick goes to the New York Giants. This says Josh Rosen, QB, UCLA. You think Rosen's going first? To be fair, I haven't watched a lot of Rosen. I haven't watched a lot of UCLA. I don't really know. But everybody's hyping him up to be the number 1 QB in this class.
I think that he's probably the most NFL-ready quarterback.
Yeah.
And I believe Eli's definitely on his way out in New York. It'll be interesting. I think the Giants will either go Rosen or Mayfield.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that going Baker Mayfield in that locker room might be the wrong choice because Eli is more of a laid-back leader.
Mm-hmm.
And to have somebody that's just such a stark opposite come in, like Mayfield, may be disruptive in the clubhouse. So, yeah, I think Josh Rosen fits there.
Okay. Number 3 goes to the Indianapolis Colts. Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State. That's pretty interesting to me. You don't normally see a running back go that high.
Well, no, but Saquon does so many other things.
Yeah.
He's only a running back in title.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's more of that Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. That was last year.
He does it all.
Mm-hmm.
I think in that Colts offense, give Andrew Luck a diversified tool like that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody returning kicks, somebody returning punts too, maybe.
Yeah.
I think he's. I just think there's a lot of value in a diversified offense. Andrew Luck is a smart kid. He can use a piece like that.
Yeah, they need a little spark in Indianapolis, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. You put him in the slot. You could bounce him out wide. You can put him in the backfield. I think you can do a lot of things.
Sure.
I don't.
Cool. I just want to.
I would love to see him go to a more dynamic offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much as I hate to say it because I would not want to play against him, but I think he would look good in the Saints offense.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know that there's room for him.
That's what I was going to say.
You already have 2 Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, he needs to go somewhere he can be a star, really.
Yeah.
I just want to do a couple more because there's some interesting people here.
Dallas.
Yeah.
If he went to Dallas, that'd
be nuts.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Cleveland Browns via the Houston Texans. Sam Darnold, QB, USC.
Oh, what a mistake!
So you think Sam Darnold's going over Mayfield?
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I watched the kid play twice this year, and I wouldn't draft him.
Well, there was some
not only would I not take him in the first round.
Yeah.
I wouldn't draft him.
He just decided yesterday to declare for the draft, and there was some talk that he was going to maybe hang around and develop a little bit more. But, there was some...
I don't know if he developed a little bit more, I would draft him.
Well, they were saying a lot of it.
Does he play baseball?
Does he? I don't think so.
Maybe he should try.
Number 5 pick goes to the Denver Broncos. Baker Mayfield, QB, Oklahoma.
To Denver. John Elway was an alpha, man.
Yeah, well, and Simeon's struggling.
Yeah, but let's face it. The Denver Broncos, who is that organization really about? Is it about the players that are playing right now?
No.
Still about Elway, right?
It's all about John.
So, I think he was an alpha.
Yeah.
Big personality, strong leader.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that Baker's his man.
Yeah.
I don't know how well he'll do there, but, I was just noticing in that game, when he's on the move, he has a weird delivery.
You talking about versus Ohio State? Is it the last game you watched?
No, against Georgia. Baker Mayfield.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about – I forgot. I'm sorry. I was mixed up. I thought you were talking about Sam Darnold for some reason.
No, Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Did you just say Baker Mayfield?
Yeah. I did. My bad.
Okay. Now I'm confused.
No, I'm sorry.
He's got this weird little thing that when he's on the move and he throws with his elbow way down below his wrist, that doesn't translate in the pro game. He's got to fix those mechanics on the move or he's going to struggle. That ball can't come out that low in the pros. I just think just from a personality fit, I think that Elway's gonna be like, that's my boy.
Yeah, I could see that.
Grabbing the crotch and screaming and yelling. It's my boy.
Sure.
The only other person that he fits more would probably be Brett Favre, but Brett Favre's not a GM anywhere.
Yeah. Number 6 is the New York Jets. This says Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Louisville.
Well, he does kind of fit their personality.
Mm-hmm. He seems like a Jets uniform would just fit him,
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, he's doomed as a quarterback in the NFL.
Hot take.
Yeah, he's not an NFL quarterback.
Okay.
He's an NFL athlete.
You think he's better at wide receiver? Or?
I don't know if he can catch.
Oh.
I mean, he has the athleticism of an NFL football player.
Yeah.
But he's not an NFL quarterback. I think we're looking at the same thing as we saw with Tim Tebow. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, he's going to – and where's Tebow now? He's playing minor league baseball.
Yeah, and he's on ESPN.
Yeah. I mean, so I think that I think Lamar Jackson is the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But the Jets do that.
Yeah.
The Jets, they draft these great athletes and somehow expect them to become something different than they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number 7.
Yep.
To the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Derwin James, safety, Florida State.
Who's next?
Number 8.
No, hold on. Let me address this.
You mad at Derwin still?
Let me tell you something.
You mad at Derwin still? I know. I'm not mad at you, Derwin.
Coming out of high school, 5-star athlete. I think he was the number 1 safety in the class.
Yeah.
Listen, the kid has freakish athletic ability.
Oh yeah, he's nuts.
I mean, it's insane. He's otherworldly. As far as freakish athletic ability, better than Jalen Ramsey.
Ooh.
I'm talking just straight measurables.
Yeah. Okay.
Had a great freshman campaign for a freshman, but didn't dominate. He comes out his sophomore year, he gets hurt. Mm-hmm. This year, everybody's, oh, Derwin's back. Oh, he gonna kill people. Derwin's so awesome. Derwin's this. He blew more coverage than any other player, including McFadden, in our secondary.
More than T-Mac. I don't know.
T-Mac was there. Charles Kelly just didn't teach him to turn his head to make a play. The only way he batted a ball down was if it hit him in the back of the helmet. He was never the dominant player everybody talked him up to be. And then ESPN, before every floor, the difference maker, Derwin James.
Yeah.
What? Hard hitter, big hitter. He cost us 2 games on missed tackles.
And I really think he was playing to protect himself. I really do.
And we get to my final point.
Yeah.
I was never dominant, and now I'm going to sit out the bowl game. Derwin's a quitter. He's a quitter. He signed up to play football at Florida State University. They gave him, I don't know if he got an education or not. They gave him an opportunity to get an education. They housed him. They fed him. They gave him great medical care.
Yeah.
And he quit.
Yeah.
I would not draft a quitter. I mean, it's just like, who was it that was it the Giants that the 2 offensive tackles came out and said, "Hey, we're not going to play in the final game because we don't have anything to play for," and they cut one of them.
Yeah.
Bobby Hart. Who does Bobby Hart play for? Another Florida State football player. He said, "I'm not going to play," and they just cut him.
Mm-hmm.
After earlier in the season, he made the statement, "I'm the best right tackle in the league."
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even the best right tackle on Florida State's team, but he's the best right tackle in the league. Listen, prima donnas have no place in sports. Quitters have no place in sports.
Okay.
I'd take him in the 7th round.
Fair enough. Number 8 goes to the Chicago Bears.
Just so I could cut him.
To the Chicago Bears. Cortland Sutton, wide receiver, SMU. That one's interesting.
Huh.
I didn't watch any SMU this year. Normally I usually get one somehow. Well, no, I did watch one. I don't remember it, though.
You know, with the Bears, they look for a certain personality type as well as skill set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just don't know enough about the kid. He's a great wide receiver, but I don't know enough about his mentality. Maybe he's just Chicago tough.
Yeah, maybe he just.
Let me tell you something. You gotta want to play ball to go to Chicago, to go to Green Bay, to go to New England.
Oh yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, I mean, none of those have a dome either, right?
Does
Chicago have a dome?
Is it? No, it's not.
It's outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so they're not just looking for the best athlete. They're looking for the ones that will go out there and, you know, negative 17 degrees catch the football.
It's 28 here right now.
I would hate to catch a football right now, much less after I caught it.
I hate walking to my car right now. And it's right outside the door.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I mean, I did get out and farm this morning in it.
Yeah, but you're passionate about it. I guess when you're passionate about it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Just do it. Number 9, we're just going to go to 10. Number 9, San Francisco 49ers, Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia.
Dude is the real deal.
And he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Luke Kuechly on the football intelligence spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kuechly's just otherworldly, but he has the other tool sets. I mean, his tool set's very similar. He's tough. He's hard-nosed. He seems to have an instinct for the ball. He does it. I don't think he diagnoses before the snap as well as Luke Kuechly does.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in the right place to make plays. I think he's, other than the 3 cold places, I think he fits well.
Okay. Number 10, just for sake of time, we're just going to stop here because those are the most interesting to me. The Oakland Raiders have the number 10 pick. Minkah Fitzpatrick, defensive back, Alabama.
Yeah, it makes too much sense.
Too much sense?
The Raiders never draft. Well, the guy, didn't the guy die?
Who?
Did the Raiders owner die?
Oh, geez. I don't know.
Now his family's maybe they'll start drafting like an actual franchise that has a desire to play in the National Football League.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 3 years ago they drafted somebody, not in the first round. They drafted somebody in like the 4th round because I was still watching the draft. So, and when they drafted him, the announcers looked at each other and said, "We don't know who this is.
Yeah.
We don't even have a picture of this kid to put on the screen."
Yeah.
Because he was fast.
Uh-huh.
He's not playing. He's not with the team anymore.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, you draft. Yeah, I mean, and they always have those boneheaded drafts.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, he's a ball player.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah. We're still waiting for some players to declare whether they're going to come back or not.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw Ryan Izzo's going.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. We're still waiting on Auden Tate.
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting on Jacquez Patrick.
Yeah.
So, Florida State fans are still waiting on some players to declare.
Yeah.
Miami's waiting on a couple of players to decide if they're going to declare. I think
they had 2 players leave.
Yeah, transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I'm just no. I'm not going to talk about Miami anymore.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move from football. We're at 50 minutes. Let's move from football really quick because
I've only really been here 30 minutes.
That's right. But this is another one that you'll be excited to talk about, I think.
So if you're tuning in now, if you'll go back and listen to the podcast, rewind to like the 20-minute mark, I come in and it gets interesting.
I talked about all the college stuff before you got here, really, though.
Next week we're going to do the big reveal about who won
the championship,
the playoff championship pick'em.
Okay, yeah. I thought you meant just like we're just going to say whoever wins the game Monday. Like we're breaking the news, like nobody's seen it yet.
Right, yeah, we will be breaking your national champion live on the show.
Really quick to the Olympics. I like the Olympics, Chief. This is from Bloomberg. Let North Korea in the Olympics. Humiliating the regime again would be a mistake.
Okay, let me just get this straight. So, let's let them in the Olympics.
Yes.
So the United States does not humiliate them.
No. They're saying by excluding them from the Olympics, we're humiliating them. And that's not a good idea.
What I'm saying is, by letting them in the Olympics, by not letting them in the Olympics, that's what's going to humiliate them.
Yeah. Apparently this happened before.
Yeah, okay, listen. Yeah, I mean...
Last time the Olympic Games were held on the Korean Peninsula was 1988, and North Korea was excluded from that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if you let them in or not.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, we're going to beat their brains in. I mean, what are we going to do next? Oh, okay. Well, listen, we don't want to upset the North Koreans, so we got to let them win at least one.
I don't think it's so much about winning or losing. I think it's just that the Olympics are kind of this neutral ground, like countries go to war and we do this, but the Olympics we all just compete.
Well, then live a neutral life.
I agree.
Don't threaten everybody.
I agree.
I think what would be even better is we say, okay, North Korea can compete, but Kim Jong-un has to come run a marathon.
That would be crazy. In the Winter Olympics, no less.
Yes.
He's running them. He's the only one running.
In running
just
short. Just running shorts and one of those little wife beater things that they wear. If he finishes, we'll let his athletes compete. If he doesn't, we get to take North Korea as an American province.
What? The Russians would go nuts.
I think that'd be great. We'll split it with Vlad.
Vlad, like you know him.
You want me to call him? See if he's down with that.
Vlad, what you doing, man?
Listen, that moron. It just came out this morning. Not Vlad. That moron, Kim Jong-un. We just found out this morning that he was testing a rocket, and he shot one of his own cities.
What?
Yeah, this happened last year, but it just came out that he was testing an intermediate range ballistic missile.
An intermediate range ballistic missile.
It was
hit a city in North Korea.
It was in the air for an hour. Maybe not an hour. Not an hour. I don't remember how long it was in the air, but it was in the air, quit working, and crashed into a highly populated city just outside Pyongyang.
You have to. I feel like you have to try pretty hard to get an intermediate range ballistic missile to hit your own country when it's like
the size of Georgia.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm not kidding. I just read it this morning.
So you think North Korea should be in the Olympics?
Maybe they were practicing hitting the Olympics.
Maybe Oh, gosh. Maybe you're right. Because it is in South Korea.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, listen, I'm just the Olympics in South Korea scares me.
It's funny that it is, right? Like that it's there this year around this time with all the stuff going on.
And I mean, I'm just saying with we've got the defectors that have anthrax antibodies, so they're definitely working on anthrax over there.
Yeah.
It's just and I don't even know that I'm as afraid of Kim Jong-un doing something as I am all of the starving North Koreans just stampeding South Korea looking for food and just killing all the athletes.
Yeah, junk is...
He gave them a leave of absence to forage for food. I mean, I know I already said that.
Yeah. There's a little bit of third thoughts. A little bit of third thoughts in your third
this is not that. This is not that podcast, but anyway.
Well, before I talked about the national championship before you got in here. But tell me who you got, Chief. And we know we both picked Clemson, didn't we, to win against Alabama? And we both.
Hold on. Let me do this before we get there.
Okay. You should probably say something while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Though, because
okay.
They can't see what you're doing.
All right. I'm working on it.
Are you?
My phone's not working.
That's not good.
This lady in college basketball had a quadruple double.
A quadruple double.
A quadruple double. Double-digit steals, double-digit rebounds, double-digit assists, double-digit points.
Who was it? What team?
I don't know. My phone quit working.
Well, there you go. If you're listening and that sounds interesting to you, get us the details on that.
Just Google women's basketball player with quadruple double.
That's insane, though.
Who have I got?
Who you got in the national championship? Alabama versus Georgia in Atlanta, coming up on Monday. Ticket prices are out, literally out the roof.
First thing I would like to say is that none of the ESPN pundits picked Georgia to beat Oklahoma.
What's their
but
problem?
Right here on 3rd and long, I'm not just like a casual fan that says, oh, yeah, we're going to win.
Uh-huh.
I had no dog in the fight, no pun intended.
Sure.
Whatsoever.
Sure.
But I went on the air and I said, Georgia's going to beat Oklahoma, play in the national championship, and they're going to become the national champions.
Mm-hmm.
I said that right here on the air.
Yes.
And I was right.
Well,
that they're in the national championship.
They are in the national championship.
So I'm going to go on the air right now.
Here it is.
And say that Georgia will be your next national champion.
That's good.
I'm staying with the University of Georgia. Just like I rode UCF all the way to the end because I knew they had it in them. So do them dogs.
I agree completely.
And I think part of it is because Jalen Hurts' helmet doesn't fit properly.
What do you mean?
If you never noticed how high his helmet appears to sit up on his head.
Yeah, I just thought it's his dreads kind of push it up.
They need to get that thing fixed. He's going to get concussed.
I just think, honestly, the Dogs have a more potent offense. I just think they can do more things. There are more looks. I mean, from what I watched of the Alabama game the other night on Monday, they still run the same 3 plays.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I mean,
Jeremy Pruitt, he was the defensive coordinator for the Dogs. For a while.
Yeah.
He's now the head coach at Tennessee.
Yeah.
You're getting on over there towards National Signing Day.
Yeah.
The other National Signing Day.
The real one.
He's starting to think about putting his recruiting class, the finishing touches on his recruiting class. Lane Kiffin got fired in this span of time last year.
Did you see?
For a different reason.
Speaking of Lane, though, really quick. Did you see he tweeted a video that was titled, Nick Saban chews out Lane Kiffin on the sideline? It was from when he was at Alabama.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lane tweeted it like a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah. Listen, he's great entertainment.
He's nuts.
Anyway,
sorry.
I don't know if Pruitt is gonna, be as focused as maybe he should be.
Yeah.
I just think all the signs point to Georgia. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel.
Yeah.
They could have been millionaires last year.
Yeah.
They turned down, becoming millionaires for a year.
Yeah, this
to
is
come
the
back to win a natty.
Mm-hmm.
Roquan Smith, is probably going to have a chip on his shoulder because all you ever hear is about the tough Alabama front seven.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that Georgia's going to do it, but I don't think it's going to be that game that everybody's predicting. I think everybody's saying 13-10.
Oh yeah, I hope not.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be, 28-31.
Yeah,
something like that.
That'd be great. I want a good game, man. I really do. I want it to be more like Georgia Oklahoma than in Alabama Clemson was.
Okay. If the Jalen Hurts led Alabama Crimson Tide offense is on the field by themselves with no defense, they're not going to score as many points in a game as Oklahoma did.
They did against Mercer. Come on, Chief Mercer. Strength of schedule, Chief Mercer.
Were there no defensive scores?
I don't know.
Maybe you should check into that.
I probably need to go look at the stats.
Yeah, maybe so.
No, I'm just saying as far as entertainment goes. I want it to be
yeah.
more like that first game than the Alabama Clemson game. It was just I don't know. Just it's the only game I was telling the audience earlier.
Clemson lost that game.
Before you got here, I was telling the audience that's the only game all season that I quit watching voluntarily. I said, I'm turning this off. It's the only one. Because I just couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah, when we left, because we watched the first game together. Then I went home, and I'm pretty sure instead of watching the second half of the Alabama Clemson game, we watched Under the Dome on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. See what? When I went back home, I turned it back on, and I got halfway through the third quarter, and I said, "Yep, I'm out."
Well, there was no way it was going to live up to that other game.
No, but it was supposed to be the prime time game. It's supposed to be the one. Like it was in the slot to be the better game.
The threequel.
Who cares, man?
Nobody cares.
No one.
It's a different team every year.
Oh yeah, totally different. Well,
it will. Alabama. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now.
Yeah.
A way too early 2018 prediction. Alabama and Clemson will not play each other in the playoffs.
Next year.
No.
Thank God.
Not going to happen.
Couldn't handle a 4-peat. Could not do it. Everybody, it's been fun on Third and Long this morning. Chief, thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah. I
appreciate
you.
Never really thought that would happen, honestly. Never really thought that I'd have to start the show without you.
Oh, I thought you meant you didn't think it would ever happen that I would show up.
I was concerned a little bit.
No, I mean, I've got a little bit of a sore throat.
And it's Thursday, I know. Listen, everybody, we'll be back to our regular slot on Wednesday morning.
Next week.
And from there on out. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being with us. We hope you enjoy Third and Long. We hope you enjoy Third Thoughts. Third Thoughts. We hope you enjoy Third Thoughts on Tuesday afternoons at 4 p.m. for our current events and news podcast.
We'd like to give a good shout out to our sponsors.
Yes. And that's it.
If you would like to be one.
If you would like to join that exclusive list of sponsors, get at us. The email, social media, the Patreon. I want to shout out to Hamilton Keener for tweeting us and getting us some more views because he's got a crazy Twitter following. He's famous,
Hamilton, you're the man.
So he was really, really hoping we would pick the Dogs, and we did. Listen, Third and Long, we got hot takes for you every Wednesday. We'll see you next week. Holla.